What if one of Tesla's most brilliant engineers suddenly vanished from the spotlight, only to resurface months later, not in a lab or at a tech conference, but behind the window of a McDonald's drive-thru? That's exactly what happened when Elon Musk pulled up for a quick meal, only to lock eyes with a man he once trusted to help shape Tesla's future. His name? Darren Reyes, a genius in battery innovation, a rising star inside Tesla, and someone Elon never imagined would be wearing a fast food uniform. But here's where the story takes a turn, because Darren's downfall wasn't just about bad luck. Behind the golden arches was a tale of betrayal, corporate sabotage, and a father fighting for his daughter's life. And what Elon discovered that day would not only shock him, but also expose the dark side of success and change Tesla forever. Because sometimes the most powerful innovations don't come from inside billion-dollar boardrooms. They come from the people the world has already written off. It started out like any other day for Elon Musk. 3 back-to-back meetings already behind him, 2 more still waiting on his calendar, and traffic that refused to move. Hungry and running out of time, he spotted the golden arches of McDonald's ahead. Not exactly his usual choice, but when your stomach growls louder than your phone, convenience wins. He pulled into the drive-thru, expecting nothing more than a greasy bag of food and a few stolen minutes apiece. But the moment he rolled down his window, he noticed something strange. The ordering screen had just crashed. Instead of the usual technical difficulties apology, a calm voice came to the speaker. "1 second. Just need to reboot and patch the system." A reboot and patch? That's not how a fast food worker normally talks. Elon's eyebrows lifted. That was engineer talk. When he reached the payment window, the mystery only deepened. The man behind the register looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, his name tag reading Darren. But what really caught Elon's attention wasn't the uniform or the tired smile. It was a notebook sticking out of Darren's pocket, covered in complex sketches, battery schematics, designs Elon recognized immediately. And then it clicked. This wasn't just any Darren. This was Darren Reyes, one of Tesla's brightest engineers, a man who had once been at the heart of the Model S battery project, a man Elon hadn't seen in months. The sight didn't make sense. Why was someone who had once been shaping the future of electric cars now scanning burgers and fixing broken card readers at McDonald's? In that instant, Elon realized something was very, very wrong. And this was no coincidence, because fate had just put him face to face with mystery and a secret that would shake Tesla to its core. As Elon pulled away from the window, his mind was racing. Just months earlier, Darren Reyes had been one of Tesla's rising stars, an engineer with the kind of talent you didn't just find on job boards. His innovations on battery cooling systems weren't just clever. They were breakthroughs that had saved Tesla millions and helped keep their electric cars from overheating. So why was he here? Elon quickly searched his emails, scrolling through old personnel notices. And there it was, a termination notice dated just 6 months ago. Darren's employment at Tesla had been cut short. No farewell, no warning, just a cold statement. Dismissed for falsifying test data. Elon frowned. That didn't sound right. Darren wasn't just talented, he was meticulous. He lived and breathed precision. If there was one thing he didn't do, it was fake numbers. And then Elon saw another name in the records, Victor Chambers, a manager known more for his ego than his vision. Elon remembered Victor well. Technically competent, yes, but the kind of person who saw other people's brilliance as a threat. The kind of man who would rather bury an innovator than share credit. It didn't add up. Why would Tesla throw away someone with Darren's skill over a single report? And why hadn't Elon heard about it until now? Through the restaurant's glass window, Elon watched Darren working. Even here in a fast food uniform, he moved with a precision that stood out. When a card reader froze, Darren fixed it in seconds, faster than most technicians could. This wasn't a washed-up engineer. This was a man who still had brilliance in him, buried under exhaustion and circumstance. And as Elon sat in his car, one thought refused to leave his mind. If Darren didn't falsify data, then who wanted him gone and why? Elon couldn't shake it. The more he thought about Darren's sudden downfall, the less it made sense. So instead of driving off, he waited. He watched as Darren finished his shift, removed his paper hat, and walked wearily toward the bus stop. Elon stepped out his car. "Darren." The man froze, his shoulders tensing before he turned. His face carried the weight of sleepless nights. But when he recognized Elon, there was something else too. Shame. "Mr. Musk," Darren said quietly, "please, I can't lose this job. You were one of the best engineers we had." Elon pressed. "What happened?" For a moment, Darren stayed silent, staring at the ground. Finally, he sighed. "Life happened." At a nearby coffee shop, the truth began to spill out. Darren's voice trembled as he explained. Just 6 months earlier, his daughter Maya, only 7 years old, had been diagnosed with leukemia. The treatments were brutal, the bills even worse. At the same time, pressure at Tesla had reached its breaking point. His supervisor, Victor Chambers, cornered him one Friday and demanded he fix the numbers on a failing battery test. Darren refused. Instead, he spent the entire weekend running new experiments, barely sleeping, desperate to find a real solution. By Sunday night, he had won. He emailed the legitimate report directly to Victor. But by Monday morning, that report had been altered. Numbers changed, data manipulated, and when Darren walked into work, HR was waiting. They accused him of falsification, waved a different version of his own report in his face, and fired him on the spot. No investigation, no chance to defend himself. And just like that, he lost not only his career, but his health insurance, the very thing his daughter needed most. 2 weeks later, his wife left. She couldn't handle the stress. Darren was suddenly a single father with a gravely ill child and no way to pay for treatment. The only job he could find that allowed flexible hours around hospital visits was at McDonald's. He looked at Elon then, eyes hollow but defiant. "You wanted the truth? That's it. I didn't fake data. I was framed, and now I'm just trying to survive long enough to keep my daughter alive." For the first time, Elon understood Darren wasn't just a fallen engineer. He was a father fighting a battle most people couldn't see. But what Darren didn't know was that his story was only the beginning, and Elon wasn't about to let it end at a drive-through window. The conversation should have ended there. Darren had laid it all out, the illness, the betrayal, the collapse of everything he'd built. But as he stood to leave, something slipped from his pocket, a notebook, worn, edges frayed, its pages stuffed with hurried sketches. Elon bent down to pick it up, and what he saw stopped him cold. Page after page of intricate designs, battery schematics, cooling system modifications, efficiency models. It wasn't doodles. It was genius. "Wait," Elon said, flipping through the notebook. "You've been working on this?" Darren's face flushed as he snatched it back. "Just to keep my mind sharp," he muttered. "Old habits. Nothing serious." But Elon knew better. He'd seen hundreds of engineering notebooks, and this wasn't idle scribbling. These were solutions, innovations that Tesla itself had been struggling with. Some of the designs were so advanced, Elon hadn't even considered them yet. "You're telling me you came up with these while working the fryer at McDonald's?" Elon asked, disbelief cutting through his voice. Darren gave a bitter smile. "You'd be surprised how much time you have to think when you're flipping burgers." Elon sat back, stunned. Here was a man Tesla had discarded, accused of dishonesty, left to rot in obscurity. Yet he was still pushing the boundaries of what was possible, still creating, still fighting to matter. And in that moment, Elon realized the truth. Darren Reyes wasn't finished. He wasn't broken. He was a hidden genius, buried under the weight of life's cruelty. But the world wasn't going to see it, not unless someone gave him a second chance. And Elon Musk was beginning to think he might be the only one who could. Elon couldn't let it go. That night, sitting in his car with Darren's story echoing in his mind, he pulled up Tesla's internal archives. And the deeper he dug, the clearer the picture became. Performance reviews? Stellar. Darren wasn't just good. He was labeled essential to the company's battery division. Termination records? Vague, almost rushed. No hard evidence. Just a claim that Darren had falsified data. Then Elon found what he was looking for. Emails. Dozens of them. Victor Chambers had been growing increasingly hostile toward Darren in the weeks, before his firing. Subtle digs, dismissing his ideas in meetings, even taking credit for Darren's breakthroughs. And then came the smoking gun, a late-night email sent just hours before HR terminated Darren. "I regret to report that Darren Reyes has submitted falsified test data," Victor wrote. "Given his family situation, I recommend immediate termination rather than a drawn-out investigation." Attached are the documents. The documents were Darren's own report, but altered. Lines of data tweaked just enough to make him look dishonest. It was sabotage, deliberate, ruthless. Elon's jaw tightened. This wasn't just office politics. This was the destruction of a man's career, and possibly his daughter's future, just so Victor could protect his ego. Without hesitation, Elon initiated a video call. When Victor's face appeared on screen, he tried to look calm. But the moment Elon mentioned Darren's name, his expression flickered. "I've been reviewing the battery cooling project," Elon said evenly. "Strange how the numbers in Darren's report don't match the version in our archives." Victor stiffened. Mistakes happen under pressure. Elon leaned closer to the camera. "This wasn't a mistake. I have your emails. I have the metadata. You altered the report and framed one of Tesla's brightest engineers." Victor paled. "Mr. Musk, you don't understand." "No," Elon cut in sharply. "I understand perfectly. You felt threatened, and instead of leading your team, you destroyed the very talent we needed most." The silence on the line was heavy. Finally, Elon delivered the ultimatum. "You have two choices. Write a full confession and resign quietly, or I fire you publicly and make sure the world knows exactly what you did." Victor's lips trembled. His arrogance was gone, replaced with fear. He knew he'd been caught. And Elon knew exactly what came next. Darren's story wasn't over. In fact, it was only just beginning. The very next day, Elon called Darren back. They met not in a boardroom, not in a Tesla lab, but in a small diner away from the noise of Silicon Valley. Darren still wore his McDonald's uniform, wrinkled, worn, and stained from a long shift. Elon sat across from him in an expensive suit, the contrast between them almost surreal. Darren's voice was cautious. "Why are you doing this, Mr. Musk?" "I'm not looking for pity." "Good," Elon replied firmly. "Because this isn't pity. It's business." He slid a folder across the table. Inside was a job offer, Tesla Special Projects Lead, Battery Innovation, a position tailored for Darren, one that came with more than just a paycheck. It included full health coverage from Maya, effective immediately, backdated, so not a single medical bill will be left uncovered. Darren's hands shook as he read the document. The salary was higher than he'd ever earned. The role gave him freedom to pursue the ideas in his notebook. But what froze him was the insurance line. "You'd cover Maya's treatments?" His voice cracked. "Yes," Elon said simply. "Because you deserve the chance to do the work you were meant to do. And because your daughter deserves a father who isn't just surviving, but building." Tears welled in Darren's eyes, but hesitation lingered. "What if I can't handle it? Some days I'm barely holding it together. Maya needs me more than Tesla ever could." Elon leaned in. "Then we'll make it work. Work from home. Flexible hours. Whatever it takes. You're not choosing between your daughter and your work. You're doing both for her." For the first time in months, a flicker of hope returned to Darren's face. He picked up the pen, hand trembling, and signed the offer. "I don't know how to thank you," he whispered. Elon smiled faintly. "Build amazing things. That's all the thanks I need." In that moment, Darren Reyes wasn't just an engineer coming back to Tesla. He was a man being given something far rarer than a job. He was being given a second chance. Darren's return to Tesla didn't feel like a victory lap. Far from it. The moment he walked back through the glass doors of the factory, he felt the weight of 100 stares. Some faces lit up with recognition. Engineers who remembered his brilliance. But others looked away, cold and dismissive. Whispers trailed behind him like shadows. "That's the guy who falsified data. Why would Musk bring him back? Must be some charity stunt." The worst blow came on his first Friday back. Sitting at his new desk, Darren found a piece of paper taped to his monitor. Just one word, scrawled in black marker: fraud. His stomach twisted. No matter what Elon believed, the ghosts of Victor's lies were still alive inside Tesla. That night, as he sat with Maya during her hospital treatment, Elon texted him, "How was your first week?" Darren hesitated, then answered honestly, challenging, "Not everyone thinks I deserve this." Elon's reply came almost instantly, "Let your work speak louder than rumors." So Darren buried himself in his designs. He stayed late, reworking the cooling system sketches from his notebook into a full prototype. Every calculation, every model, he double-checked until his eyes burned. He didn't just want to prove himself. He had to. For Maya, Darren's return to Tesla didn't feel like a victory lap. Far from it. The moment he walked back through the glass doors of the factory, he felt the weight of 100 stares. Some faces lit up with recognition. Engineers who remembered his brilliance, but others looked away, cold and dismissive. Whispers trailed behind him like shadows. That's the guy who falsified data. Why would Musk bring him back? Must be some charity stunt. The worst blow came on his first Friday back. Sitting at his new desk, Darren found a piece of paper taped to his monitor. Just one word, scrawled in black marker: fraud. His stomach twisted. No matter what Elon believed, the ghosts of Victor's lies were still alive inside Tesla. That night, as he sat with Maya during her hospital treatment, Elon texted him, "How was your first week?" Darren hesitated, then answered honestly, challenging, "Not everyone thinks I deserve this." Elon's reply came almost instantly, "Let your work speak louder than rumors." So Darren buried himself in his designs. He stayed late, reworking the cooling system sketches from his notebook into a full prototype. Every calculation, every model, he double-checked until his eyes burned. He didn't just want to prove himself, he had to. For Maya, the following week, he presented his design to the department. The room was tense, eyes skeptical, but the results were undeniable. His prototype outperformed existing systems, delivering efficiency gains Tesla hadn't thought possible. Even his critics couldn't hide their surprise. Aisha, one of the sharper engineers who'd kept her distance, leaned in after the meeting. "That configuration you showed, it could actually work. The math checks out." For the first time, Darren felt a small crack forming in the wall of suspicion. Not full acceptance, but a spark of respect. And yet, the whispers hadn't stopped. He could feel them growing louder, fueled by resentment and doubt. What Darren didn't know was that his biggest challenge wasn't just proving himself to Tesla's engineers. It was proving himself to the world, and the test of that was coming sooner than he imagined. The pressure on Darren only grew. Every day at Tesla felt like a silent trial, colleagues watching, waiting to see if he'd stumble. And just as he was preparing his prototype for board testing, life threw him another cruel twist. Maya's cancer treatments had taken a turn. Her doctors wanted to start a more aggressive cycle, which meant long hospital stays and longer nights by her bedside. Most people would have broken under the weight. But Darren refused to choose between being a father and being an engineer. So he carried his laptop, his notes, and his battered notebook into Maya's hospital room and built a workstation beside her bed. When she slept, he worked. When she woke, he read to her, fed her, or simply held her hand. Engineering meetings became hospital visits. Technical sketches were spread out next to crayons and coloring books. To anyone else, it looked impossible. To Darren, it was survival. Then came the moment that changed everything. One afternoon, Maya was stacking building blocks, trying to make a tower that wouldn't fall. She giggled as she alternated large and small pieces, creating a pattern that distributed the weight perfectly. "Daddy, look," she said proudly. "My tower doesn't fall over anymore." Darren froze. His mind lit up. He grabbed his notebook and began sketching furiously. What if Tesla's battery cells could be arranged the same way? Alternating layers, redistributing stress the way Maya had done with her blocks. It was an idea no one in the lab had considered. Simple, brilliant, revolutionary. Within days, Darren had a new design. A configuration that boosted efficiency by over 23% and reduced the need for rare materials. Something Tesla had been struggling with for months. When the test came in, the results were undeniable. The prototype outperformed expectations across the board. Word spread quickly inside Tesla. Darren Reyes, the so-called fraud, had just delivered a breakthrough that could change the future of electric vehicles. And when Elon saw the results, his reaction was simple, but telling. He looked Darren in the eye and said, "This changes everything." But as Darren would soon discover, success doesn't silence doubters. In fact, it makes the backlash louder. From the outside, it looked impossible. A man once branded a fraud, stripped of his career, reduced to working a drive-through window, had not only returned to Tesla, but reshaped its future. Darren's breakthrough became the cornerstone of Tesla's next-generation batteries. What started as scribbles in a worn notebook and inspiration from a child's block tower turned into technology that would redefine electric cars around the world. But for Darren, it wasn't about fame or even redemption. It was about Maya, the health coverage that saved her treatments, the stability that gave her hope, the chance to finally look at her father and see not just a survivor, but a builder again. And for Elon Musk, the encounter at that McDonald's wasn't just luck. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest minds aren't sitting in polished boardrooms. Sometimes they're hidden in the shadows, fighting battles no one sees, waiting for someone to believe in them again. Because this story isn't just about one engineer. It's about all the talent the world throws away too quickly. The innovators buried under mistakes, betrayals, or circumstances beyond their control. And it leaves us with one question. How many breakthroughs, how many world-changing ideas have already been lost because no one gave their creators a second chance?